First it was Sheryl Swoopes, and then now it is a good friend of hers, actually, that just lost her damn job, bruh. Yes.
Year launching pointed, often personal attacks on the league's brightest new star, Caitlin Clark.
Particularly
it's happening
by
right
the surge
now.
Of new fans,
Cindy Brunson,
as one source
longtime Phoenix
Brunson
Mercury broadcaster and one of Clark's most vocal critics, has been officially let go.
To the changing
not just
landscape
pulled
of the
from
WNBA,
Indiana Fever games,
the damage
but
Brunson
completely
was causing.
removed from the Mercury's
Her
2025 broadcast team.
Clark.
This
may
decision, as understated as it was definitive, marks a turning point. Brunson's name didn't disappear amid scandalous headlines or public spectacle. It was quietly scrubbed from the Mercury's broadcast schedule, a clear sign that this wasn't a slap on the wrist.
The 2024
this was a full
WNBA
reset.
season
Brunson,
just delivered
though not a
mathematical
household name
probability
to
of
casual
these being
fans,
coincidental
had built
decisions
a recognizable presence within WNBA circles.
Hasn't issued
Over the years,
statements about
she developed a
maintaining
reputation as a steady voice for the Mercury until something changed.
By removing Voigt,
with the arrival of
so.
Caitlin Clark to
it
the
wasn't
league,
just criticism.
Brunson's commentary shifted dramatically. What had once been professional analysis began to feel
Rather
personal.
Than allowing the single
she repeatedly downplayed Clark's record-breaking collegiate career, often invoking Sheryl Swoopes' accomplishments as somehow more valid, and her tone toward Clark took on an increasingly antagonistic edge. But Brunson didn't stop with Clark. She launched into speculative commentary about Kelsey Mitchell, suggesting, without credible evidence, that the Fever Guard wanted out of Indiana, contradicting Mitchell's own public stance. And she even took jabs at the fan base Clark brought into the league, seemingly irritated by the influx of new supporters. Instead of embracing the surge of interest in women's basketball, Brunson treated these fans like intruders. The line from critique to vendetta became clearer when she mocked.
And I'm telling y'all right now, you gotta pay close attention to what is happening in the W, dog. I spoke about this a few weeks ago. Seemed like every person that wronged Caitlin Clark in some way, shape, or form is no longer employed, is no longer in this damn league.
Reflect or walk them back, instead dismissing the criticisms outright. Her approach drew comparisons to Sheryl Swoopes, another established figure in women's basketball who had also become a lightning rod for criticism over her treatment of Clark. And just like Brunson, Swoopes has also found herself removed from the Dallas Wings broadcast team and from the WNBA-sponsored Queens of the Court podcast. Her image was removed from promotional materials, her name erased from episode credits, without formal acknowledgement. This wasn't a coincidence. These moves are part of a pattern, a quiet but coordinated campaign to recenter the WNBA around its rising stars and push back against voices perceived as toxic. The league, it seems, is finally listening to its fans and sponsors who are growing increasingly intolerant of antagonistic commentary that feels less like critique and more like character assassination. The decision to part ways with Brunson and Swoopes wasn't made hastily. The Mercury waited until the end of the 2024 season, signaling a deliberate and strategic choice rather than a reaction to a single controversy. Fan feedback throughout the season likely played a significant role, with social media flooded by calls for Brunson's removal. Her critics were not subtle. Many accused her of being more interested in engagement and outrage than genuine sports commentary. Some went so far as to label her a disgrace to sports broadcasting. Behind the scenes, it's likely that pressure came from more than just fans. The WNBA, now seeing record-breaking viewership and increased mainstream attention, has every reason to protect its brand. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a business asset, a ratings driver, a walking investment. When broadcasters actively try to diminish her achievements, they don't just attack a player, they undermine them.
Everyone else is not there. Look at Kennedy Carter. Kennedy Carter's going on streamer podcasts as of right now to try to get back in the W, bro. I mean, she's trying anything to be relevant, bro.
The WNBA is recognizing that it must be just as careful with its media voices as it is with its players. Brunson's and Swoopes' removals are not isolated events. They represent a larger cultural shift, one where there's no longer room for personal vendettas masquerading as analysis. Sheryl Swoopes' removal is particularly telling in this context. Her history, including a troubled coaching tenure at Loyola University Chicago, where she was investigated for player mistreatment, adds another layer to the story. The criticisms she lobbed at Clark, many of them inaccurate or misleading, echoed a pattern of belittling young athletes. From mischaracterizing Clark's time in college to dismissing her scoring feats with distorted facts, Swoopes' commentary was not only factually questionable, but also damning.
Well, guess what, guys? The proof was in the pudding, because I'm here to tell you she ain't got no damn job right now, and she's going to be going on Gilbert Arenas probably for her next employment.
It's about holding commentators to a standard of professionalism. Honest analysis is welcome. Personal agendas are not. This all comes as the league continues to explore new broadcasting partnerships, expand its promotional reach, and address toxicity through official task forces. By distancing itself from figures who seemed more interested in undermining than uplifting, the WNBA is asserting a new media standard, one focused on fairness, accuracy, and growth. These moves also raise larger questions. Who else might be reassessing their tone or approach? Are more changes coming? If so, they would only confirm what many have already begun to suspect, that the WNBA, bolstered by new stars and surging support, is entering a new era. One in which professionalism isn't optional, and where toxic commentary has real consequences. And if you're wondering whether this is the right move, just look at the numbers. The 2024 season broke viewership records, and Caitlin Clark merchandise flew off the shelves. The future of the league isn't hypothetical. It's here. And it's powered by stars who deserve coverage worthy of their impact.